the church inside, embracing feminine power and being a woman myself too. That was really special to see. I am here just hanging out in this garden in front of St. Anne's right now. I have an hour or so left to get into my accommodation. So it's a nice sunny day. So in the meantime, I'm just gonna sit here, chill, and then go to my accommodation. So we are walking in the Shankill Road area, which is the side that wanted to stay with the UK, and there are lots of murals and the flags of the UK. It's really nice to see how they have used art to express what they felt and acknowledge their history. To remain in the UK. This is the Protestant side, and you can see behind me they have used various murals and art to express how they felt and the things that happened during the troubled times. I think it's a really fantastic way to express your feelings and values through art so that everyone can understand your point of view. So this is the Peace Wall area, and as you can see, there's different arts and murals that are in the wall, and this is to show the things that went during the troubled times. And this is the wall that divides the two sides in Belfast. I really like this message on the wall. Some believe it is only high walls that can hold fear in check, but that is not what I have found. I have found that it is then small everyday deeds of ordinary folk that keep the darkness at bay, small acts of kindness and love. Such a beautiful message. So we have come to this section of the Peace Wall, which has a message from Dalai Lama which says, "Open your arms to change, but do not let go of your values." And it's very artistic. This is the gate towards the Catholic side. So I'm standing in front of the iconic mural for Bobby Sands. He was a legendary hero for the Catholic side, the IRA, and I'm now in the Falls Road area, and this is the mural, and I will show you the mural from a distance. So I'm crossing the road and you can see this mural over here behind me. The Peace Wall is right behind me over there. He and his fellow IRA members protested, saying prisoners of war are different than any other criminals and they should be treated with respect. It is written, "Everyone, Republican or otherwise, has their own particular role to play. Our revenge will be laughter of our children." Behind me is the famous Albert clock. This is one of the most iconic symbols in Belfast area. So she was mourning the loss of her husband Albert, and this clock was designed for him, and he is wearing his royal robes. Clock is right there. During the Victorian times, this clock area was actually known to have lots of prostitutes come by. And now it's really iconic for Belfast. Fish. I am petting the fish for good luck for me and good luck for you as well. Yay! Me and the big fish. Just walking around in the quay area, and today was really eventful and so peaceful here. I'm enjoying the sunset, and Belfast is really pretty and it's such a safe city to be in as well. So after the sunset, I'm gonna grab some dinner and call it a night. I am now in front of the Game of Thrones studio. I'm doing the studio tour. You can see the studio behind me. I did the pickup bus from Belfast, and they pick you up from the city center and bring you here. Something grand or big for the studio. And this is just, it looks a small shed like exterior, but I'm sure it's magical inside. Here I am in front of the Game of Thrones studio, and you can see the sign behind me. These are the costumes used for the characters of Game of Thrones. I can't believe I'm standing right in the same spot where Titanic and other Olympic ships were built in Belfast. As a fan of Titanic, this is such a amazing emotional moment for me. And let me show you how big this area is. So this entire area here, and behind me is the Titanic Museum, is where Titanic was built. And after it was built, obviously it's too big to be just transported in all its enormosity, so they had to transport it piece by piece. So they first transported the body of the ship, and then later they added boilers in another new area. I just visited the Titanic Museum, and it was really wonderful to see how industrialization shaped Belfast and all the industries that came with it. Linen, rope, ships, tobacco. It is truly a city built by working class people, and it's massive here. And let me show you the cranes they have here. If you see that yellow lines, they are also Belfast iconic cranes known as the Goliath. And H&W is the company that built Titanic as well, and they use these cranes or some model of these cranes to build ships and other industrial aspects of the Titanic. Around Alexandra Dock area, and this area was one of the biggest shipping hubs in Belfast. And in addition to Titanic, there are all kinds of ships that were made, and I will show you that I'm looking at Caroline, which is a World War I ship. So there's only 3 World War One ships, warships, and this is one of them, and it's right here. Coming from Nepal, it's a landlocked country, so growing up I didn't care much about ships, but as I have been traveling and exploring the world, it makes me interested in ships because, you know, I wonder who thought, like, let's use a piece of metal and see if it can float on water and not let anyone drown. And all these people who experimented with various designs and they made ships. Also, fun fact, I found out that the Wright brothers who invented the plane, they also used Belfast for making their planes and designing their planes and making their planes here. It made me realize what an influence this city has been in our modern day life. Opportunities, immigration opportunities. So I'm just walking around in this harbor where Titanic was built, and it's a really nice sunny day. Amazing to see all the space, the grandeur it required. And those of you who are wondering if the Titanic Museum is about the movie Titanic and Rose and Jack character and all of that, it is not. I obviously didn't go for that. It is more about how Belfast as an industrial city grew, and how did ship construction start in Belfast, what was the process, the engines, how Titanic was built, who built it, the team of people. I mean, it was thousands and thousands of workers and man hours to build that ship. So it's all about that instead of the movie. It is really good if you want to know about how Titanic was built and all the aspects of it. The City Hall. Check out the detailing. Stroll in the city center area of Belfast, and right now I'm near the City Hall area, and it's a lovely day. I just had some ice cream and I'm heading to the most popular pub in Belfast, and that pub is so famous that many celebrities have also visited the pub. Me is the Carrickfergus Castle, and this castle was actually used for filming for Dungeons and Dragons. Walking next to a castle. It is almost 900 years old, and it has been occupied by Irish, Scottish, English, French, and It even saw action until World War II. So behind me is the entrance gate. You have to pay to go inside, and that's the flag of the castle. Let me try and I was reading things about the castle, and I found out that the castle gates are actually the strongest part of the castle, because guess why? Because that's the part which will most likely be attacked, and the stronger the gates are, chances of surviving the attack is better. And it was also featured in Game of Thrones, but as you can see, everyone is up here trying to take a good picture of it. So it's super crowded, and all the coach buses are here, so lots of tourists are here. I am in the area of dark hedges. I'm gonna walk through in a bit, and Game of Thrones fans will know that this was the King's Landing, way to King's Landing. And these trees, the birch woods that are planted here that we can see, these are 300 years old, and these trees were planted by a guy named James Stewart for his wife, and they are 300 years old. And because of the storm that happened a few years ago, some of the trees had to be cut out. And the Game of Thrones HBO team, they used the wood to make 10 doors instead of just using the wood for firewood. They made 10 doors and had a lottery where the winner could use the wood as the Game of Thrones door. And
I love trees, and these are really beautiful. I like these are birch.
walking in the dark hedges area, and these trees are 300 years old. But what it is making me think about is that this man, he planted these trees for his wife, and even after 300 years later, so many of us are enjoying, and even movie series like Game of Thrones used this location. So it makes me think that there's no small act that you can do that can be useful in the future. Like, it might look small and not significant while you're doing it, but maybe in the future it could actually be significant. So if you have any ideas or any small act you want to do, I would encourage you to do it, because even if the present situation doesn't understand, in the future the future generation might benefit from it.
She thinks to get food.
Aww.
Quite big. This is a beautiful pond.
Yeah. A little bit on the moderate walk path, and this is the view. I'm not sure. I think that island over way there might be Scotland. From the moderate trail, and we're going down from the cliff towards the causeway, and the path is narrow. Let me show you. Yeah, that's how narrow it is. The causeway is over there, so air is really fresh, and we are waving at each other and walking around. It's super pretty. Let me show you the scene behind, and that is what it looks like. And this is the Giant Causeway. Scientifically, it was said that a volcano erupted and ice age formed these rocks. And as we go into closer, I'll talk about it in more detail. So there is a lot of rocks erosion. This is what it looks like, the view of the rocks and the view of the ocean.
Nice, really beautiful.
So these lines over there, these are formed because of millions of years of landslides and erosion, and it looks so artistic. So I would say this is nature's art or sketch after millions of years. That's what I feel like when I see this. Trying to walk in the causeway area, have to be very careful because it's very rocky. And I'm being careful, walking very carefully. There's also a small bus available for people with mobility issues. I have to scramble. We gotta scramble in this area. So I'll scramble and being your hands and your toes. And I did it! So this is what we climbed up from, and we are on top of the causeway. Show you. This is what it looks like. So here I am in the Giant Causeway of Northern Ireland, and this is where there was a volcanic eruption, and then the ice age made the remains of the ashes of the volcanoes freeze, causing all these stones to form, making it one of the most amazing I'm catching my breath here, one of the most amazing nature formation. So this is one of the most amazing things and special things about Northern Ireland. So those who are the fans of Game of Thrones will recognize this castle over there. So this is the Greyjoy castle area. This is the Dunluce castle, and it used to be the home of many Scottish landlords, and it got destroyed because some part of the castle, the servant quarter area, it fell into the ocean, and this is what is remaining. The outside part was used for the Game of Thrones filming. So behind me is the Dunluce Castle. I'm butchering the pronunciation really badly. This is where Game of Thrones Greyjoy house was there. They used the external walls for the filming, and this used to be occupied by Scottish landlords. Part of the castle is destroyed. It fell into the sea. The helpers and servant quarter, it fell into the sea, and now this is what it remains.